Alright, here we go. So, Duel Links has its big update. Ex-eez. And I keep saying XYZ, I'll probably say it at some point, but it's Ex-eez summons. Uh, a couple big things I want to talk about are one, the ban list, which I'm going to pull up separately here. My first bookmark. So, the ban list is one of the big things that's happening. Oh man. And we have our first restricted stuff. I feel like there's been half a dozen videos at least, surely more, about this, so I don't want to talk about it too much, but it looks like they're hitting graveyard strategies a lot. A lot of the top decks got something nerfed, with Invoked Neos being the big notable one. But everything got hit pretty hard in the top, with one exception being a lot of iterations of Shranway, or Sharanui, however you pronounce it. More recent versions were using Needlebug Nest, and some using Grass is Greener, but the back row focused ones weren't, so that seems like it'll be pretty good. And decks that are using good removal, good back row removal, especially ones that don't target like Floodgate, probably have a really good chance to succeed here. So, if you haven't seen the ban list, check it out. There's tons of videos that talk about this in depth, more than I know. Overall, I like a lot of these changes. Graveyard stuff felt a little too strong. People might be wondering about Needlebug Nest, but I think it was starting to catch on and would have kind of taken off. Starblast got banned with a lot of the applicable Starblast skills like Access Denied, Bandit, Ojama Overflow. The really big ones here, I think the biggest one is probably Shadow Game. Switcheroo and Show of Nightmares had their respective decks nerfed. Restart's pretty much no longer usable. But Shadow Game got put in a spot where I think it's still usable, but your deck needs a way to close. And I think this change is why they reduced Lava Golem off of 1,000, because if you could put someone to 1,000 and then Lava Golem would kill them on their next standby phase, it would probably feel a little too good, or make this still feel too good. So that change is big. So I wanted to look at the tier list and just kind of point out some of these, like some of the shakeups we're going to see. I think Thunder Dragons, especially with Ex-eez, is going to have a good chance to jump back. Well, I say back onto the tier list, but jump onto the tier list. I think Shranway and Blackwings probably have the best continuing deck now. I think Carrot Curry is still playable, but like their biggest player got hit and they can't play Hatronade anymore for their easy single turn kills on turn 2. I think Invoked Neos is dead. Witchcrafter is going to have a really hard time. Elemental Sabers will have to play without Alistair. So these three, I think, all are going to have a really hard time, potentially totally falling off the tier list. Blackwings and Shranway got the least hits. Karakuri probably drops to tier 2. And then we'll probably see those decks that recently fell, Blue Eyes, Dark Magician, Masked Heroes, jump back onto the tier list as a lot of their bad matchups are falling. But I think the most played deck, or most successful deck, will probably be Shranway. Shranway or Blackwings. Blue Eyes, Dark Magician, Masked Heroes will probably do well just based on what's played the most. So we'll see how it all shakes down. I'm sure they won't update this for at least some amount of time until some things get fleshed out. So now I want to talk about the new set. So before we dive into the set, we're going to look at the deck. I bought it. I think this is nice free-to-play value. The big things are Bacon Saver you get without having to dive into a not useful box just for a rare. So just for the 500 for Bacon Saver is nice. Cowboy, like they said they were gonna do, effect damage is half of what it was, and Cowboy's almost a meme, it looks like, at this point. But doing only 400 damage now and Shadow Game only putting to 500 is substantially worse. And there's no main phase 2, so you can't attack and then summon Cowboy to do a little bit more damage. So who knows? Maybe he's still good, but a lot of his utility kind of falls off. I think Yosenju, I was really excited about it with 800 because having a nice finisher that doesn't need to attack is nice. But at 400, 800 over 2 turns, I just doubt that it's good enough. So otherwise in the set, memory loss is potentially, this structure deck, memory loss could see play. Effect activation is pretty nice against Ex-eez, since they usually only get once per turn and have to remove a monster from it. So this could be good and just adds to the value of this thing. Warrior Lady of the Wasteland is another one that's just kind of nice that they threw it in. It's like the budget giant rat, and now you have really easy access to it. So overall, for 500 gems, I like this. Maybe Cowboy sees play, maybe Memory Loss sees play. This might be one that you can kind of toss in as an extra card to a deck if you're lacking on back row, or like don't have the staples. So that's there. With the actual set, whoops, click the same thing. So with the actual set, Shining Hope, some really notable things right off the bat. Phoenix Chain is now available, and it might be the best back row out there, but we'll see. Floodgate, I think, gets better with Ex-eez summons, but Phoenix Chain is definitely useful, and you'll probably be playing against a lot more of them now that it's available to everyone. DD Crow, we obviously had Karibo, Sphere Karibo, but DD Crow is a very useful hand trap, and I think this might be part of the reason we don't see a Shiranui or Shiranui ban, or restricted change, because DD Crow is, well, a hand trap for them for any graveyard strategy things. So it's interesting that they're starting to add these. If they add more hand traps, the game's going to start to change. So I'm interested to see how that pans out. Outside of that, a lot of people have talked about, Samurai's useful, but where are they? The Bujingi, I feel like there's a different name for him. Is it just Bujingi? But, so there's a few archetypes added. That's one. The Stellar Knights, I think, actually could see play. It'll look different than the TCG version, because we don't have access to everything. But I still think what they gave us is probably good enough for a deck to see play, especially because you have a lot of back row support. We also have alpha, like you get counter traps, so it seems reasonable, and one of the archetypes out of this box that I'm thinking might see more success than others. In terms of just, is this box worth it? I think DD Crow will be enough of a staple. Phoenix Chain is good enough. Forbidden Scripture has some uses. Goblin, however you say this, Berg, is good enough in Ex-eez decks that he'll just be generically useful for decks that don't have a specific theme. So I think it's reasonably worth it, especially if you're new to the game. Having access to a really good back row staple, a good generic staple, which this won't go in every deck, but a good generic card, and then a couple different archetypes. The decks or the box seems good enough to just commit to. So outside of looking at this box specifically, oh yeah, we got another lights. Did we get 2 Lightsworn? Just the one. Yeah, just the one. And it's not super useful, but it gives another 4-star to give you the option to whatever we call it. I don't even know what it's called. Just Ex-eez summon. I haven't played the TCG, so I can call it Ex-eez summon for now, and someone will correct me. So I want to talk about some of these and some of their uses. If you've watched any of my other videos, I committed to Dimension of Wizards to get Psychic Will Eater. And so he's got like the 2 summon 3-star synergy, mainly for synchros, but now you have access to a different guy that can help finish off the game. He does direct damage if he kills something. And just as a 2000 attacker, which isn't huge, but could be useful at times. So I think he could make his way into the extra deck in that Stromberg deck, or in some 3-star deck that generally uses synchros, but maybe he becomes just another option. The other 3 stars specifically for Djinns, and it looked like some of the characters get some synergy for them. So now talking about Yosenju, since that's the deck that I like the most. So we looked at Gaga Cowboy, and since it's only 400 damage, it seems less good. I think I mentioned, I think Yosenju can close out the game on its own without him. So committing 2 of your guys to get 400 damage a turn over the 2 turns just doesn't seem good enough. Like, I'd rather just keep the 2 Yosenjus that you're using to summon him. And likewise, or the same goes for a lot of these others. Like, we're not generating enough card advantage to just dump 2 of our guys into a medium or just decent 4-star unit. So like even Utopia, like the face of this box, it's not a bad effect, but it's not really what we necessarily want to be doing. He just becomes a 2500 attacker, and I don't know, it's just not really what we want to be doing. So Stellar Knight Deltaros. So we don't get the last line of this card if we play it in Yosenju, but we do get the choose a card on the field and destroy it, and they can't activate cards or effects when you normal special summon. So it's maybe good enough to just include in the Yosenju deck, and really at this point, since we're not playing an extra deck, you might as well throw him in alongside Cowboy, because who knows, maybe they're 400 and they have battle traps and you can finish them off. But none of these are super exciting to me. One of the things that is exciting is that we have Yosenju Magat, who is a 6-star, and when you play him, you can special summon a Yosenju. And so potentially you can get out 2 6-stars with him and go into something like Swordbreaker. Well, and I guess that's where the excitement stops, right? Because Force Focus and Swordbreaker are both kind of medium in my opinion. If we get a really good rank 6 Ex-eez monster, then I think that could be a valid strategy. But right now, combining two of your level 6 guys to Swordbreaker is not overly exciting. So, but those are the thoughts. A lot of these you almost might as well just toss into the deck. A lot of these 4-star ones, if you have them, because we're not playing an extra deck, or not one with cards, so you just might as well throw them in. But those are some of my quick thoughts. I'm excited to play with some of these new cards. I'll probably start buying packs soon. Venus Chain is also really nice with Ritual Beast, which I have all the cards for, so maybe I try that out. And I'm curious how that deck evolves too without Shadow Game. So we'll see. Alright, thanks guys. Talk to you later.